Okay, so last night when I was live, someone said when I mentioned that I watched Twilight, that I like the movie Twilights. Nothing against this person. I'm glad that they said what they said because it gave me a reason to hop on here today and give you guys what the Lord has given me, revelation. So when I said how much I liked Twilight, this person said, oh no, it's magical, right? And it led me to think, so I thank you to that commenter that really just opened my eyes. And I don't mean opening my eyes to the movie I'm going to explain. I have seen Twilight so many times. I do like it because I like the storyline, especially the first one, the storyline, of love, right? Despite he's a vampire and all this stuff. Here's the thing that gave me revelation. In the first Twilight, when Bella goes to school, right, and she's goes to her science class or earth science, whatever. That's the class that she has with Edward. So this is their first time meeting. When she walks in, she's greeted by them two guys that, they like her. They was trying to talk to her, but the teacher tells her like where to sit, and suddenly there's like a fan behind her that blows wind, air or whatever through, like from behind her, like you see her hair move, and you see that then the camera pans over to Edward. He's covering up his nose like this, like, ooh. And it would always crack me up, that scene. I thought that scene was hilarious. I laughed every single time. I was like, she stank. Now, I have never read any of the books, but on here on TikTok, people like to share things, and somebody said the reason why he did that is because she was on her menstrual, and he got a whiff of it, the blood, right? So I was thinking just now, I thought of this before, but the Lord is just like, I said, this is too good, Lord. I need to go live. I need to make a video. So when God says that our self-righteousness is as filthy rags, it smells to him, it stinks, right? So he's like Edward, covering his nose when we try to do self-righteous things and operate in our own strength. It's as if, you're saying you didn't need a redeemer. Much like people say now, they don't need Jesus. They want to operate in self-righteousness. Well, it's as filthy rags to God. You are not good enough. This is why we needed a redeemer. This is why Jesus Christ had to come, because it's his righteousness that covers us. And that's what God sees. Now, here's the part, right? So I think when I look at that scene, I think of that, what the Bible says, that our self-righteousness is as filthy rags. What were rags used in the olden times? Women use rags for their menstruals because this is old blood. And what did God say? Your life is in the blood. So I've, here on TikTok, people want to share stuff like there's some woman that she uses her menstrual, for her garden. She puts it in her plants. She puts back into the earth. How are you putting something that is dead into the earth? She's basically doing witchcraft. And then feeding whomever comes to her house, because it's her garden where she plants. She's growing, produce and stuff, vegetables, and she's putting all her period blood in it. That's why you got to be careful. So that's what that movie that scene of the movie reminds me of. Because filthy rags, and if you remember, God had to tell his children how to properly cut and expel a animal's blood. This is where you get kosher. This is and Jews still practice this, because you can buy food, you can buy meat that is kosher. There was a certain way, because you're not supposed to touch dead blood. This is why when a woman was on her menstrual, God told, when he was telling the children, the Israelites, that the woman must leave from the campsite for 7 days until she is off her menstrual. What did they use for pads and stuff? They didn't have pads. They used rags. I'm telling you, this is, and when there's a verse where God says that he takes the foolish things to confound the wise. Foolish things is translated into simple things. Just think of it that way. It's simple. It's something, but I've just within that scene, even though it's not a Christian movie, I'm not telling anybody to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, hey, that's you. Don't watch it. I've watched it many times. I like it. So now when I see that scene, I think of God. I think of, man, if you operate in your self-righteousness, God's making the same face as Edward, covering his nose and his mouth. He could not stand to be around her. And even when he went to the office to try to change classes, he was like, and he couldn't. So he was like, I'll just bear it. Whoa. This is why the woman with the issue of blood is so significant, because she touched Jesus. She wasn't supposed to. When the woman is bleeding and they, from her menstrual or whatever it is, like in her situation, you're not even supposed to be out. You're supposed to lock yourself away. Don't be around nobody. Can't touch. What a lonely life that this woman had to go through. Every time her bleeding started every month. God's grace, and I just had to share that. I know it's long, but God bless you for listening. Keep it peachy.